This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, y'all, welcome to our meeting tonight with MS group. My name is Kim. I am from Des Moines, Iowa. I have relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2012, currently on Ocrevus. Marlo, go ahead and introduce yourself and welcome.
Marlow, Sterling Heights, Michigan. Um, Diagnosed in July of 22, dimethyl fumarate.
And then, did you have anything you want to talk to
I'd
tonight?
like,
You said
I
you
got
did.
a question.
Okay, great. We'll get to that a little bit later. Marie, welcome and introduce yourself, please.
I'm Marie from New Jersey. I have progressive MS and I'm on Ocrevus. Um, I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marie. Welcome. Glad you're here. Andrea, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I'm Andrea. I live in on the North Carolina Outer Banks. I have relapsing MS. I had my first Ocrevus infusion yesterday, and yeah, that's it. I've been on other drugs before Ocrevus, but I was just switching drugs, so um, that was just nerve-wracking, and it's all done now, and I'm very much happier.
Did you
So,
have any questions or anything you want to discuss tonight, Andrea?
no, not that I can think of right now.
Okay. Welcome. All right. Yanda, welcome. I think you're new to our group. Go ahead and introduce
Yeah.
yourself,
Okay.
please.
My name is Yonda. I live on the Central Oregon coast in a small town called Yachats, and I've been diagnosed since 1992. I have progressive relapsing MS.
And then did you have any
And
questions?
oh no, I don't have any questions. I am not on any disease modifying treatment, and I have never taken any of those drugs. When I was first diagnosed, I'm not, or well, um, eventually ended up in hospice fairly quickly and survived and had a medical miracle, and then we moved from Sacramento to Yachats, and at the time, the only drug available was beta serum. It was so early on, and I did really well for about 8 years. Had barely any symptoms, and then I crashed again and went for about 5 years before, um, 5 years in, like, I don't know, I can't even remember anymore, but I kept going from very, very seriously ill to going into remission again. But as time went on, my remissions got less complete, and I actually went through this whole scenario in December and almost was going to be on palliative care. And then with home health, I turned around and I was walking with my service dog. He was doing a walking momentum with me, so he pulled me. He has a guide dog harness on, and I was using a forearm crutch. And then I took a fall in my manual wheelchair, and it set me back. And now I'm kind of back to square one, but I have home health coming in. So I've had a really unusual, wild ride, and I've been very deathly ill 3 different times, and many serious relapse, and then keep bouncing back to whatever degree. So I'm hoping to regain the mobility I had in April. We'll see. I actually do have a question. One of my most um, difficult symptoms is chronic pain, and I also have chronic regional pain syndrome or reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is known as the suicide disease because the pain levels are really, really high, and it went systemic about 30 years ago. So I have that and the MS pain, and then bad osteoarthritis, and then Ehlers-Danlos. So a lot of things contributing to that. But I'm just curious what other people take as far as medications for both pain and muscle spasms. I'm hoping to stay off of opiates this round. I want to see what other people are using if they have pain issues. So that's my question. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming, Yanda. Let's get ahead and finish the introductions first, and then we'll come back to you, Yanda. Does that sound good? Okay. Okay, Mike, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Mike from Arizona, and was born in Michigan. And I think my MS was rooted in the place I grew up around Detroit, chemical plants and all that. Anyway, I've had MS since '97, and I was on a bunch of drugs, and now I have secondary progressive, and I'm not on any drugs. But I'm sure I'm really enthralled by Yanda and her story. It's like reading an outline of a movie. I'd like to hear more from her. Thanks, Kim.
Excellent. And then, did you have anything you wanted to talk about tonight, Mike? Do I need to put you on the list?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Mike. Jennifer, aka Big Red, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I have relapse remitting. I was diagnosed April 4th of 2019. I don't take anything right now. I was on Aubagio, but I stopped all medicine. And I'm from Richmond, Indiana. Right there by the Ohio border. Right there, John. Right there.
Right
And then,
on the
did you
Ohio
have?
border.
And then, did you have anything you wanted to talk about tonight, Jen?
Sure.
Okay, I'll put you on the list. Thank you and welcome. Carmen's making us international tonight. Welcome, Carmen.
Hello.
Please introduce
Hi.
yourself.
I'm Carmen from Canada. So, yes, I'm the one from a different country. I have primary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 2013. I'm on Ocrevus, and I don't feel like it's really doing much anymore. I used to get such a good boost from it, and now I don't. I have an infusion coming up on Friday, so fingers crossed I'll feel a little better for a little while, but I just feel like I'm counting down the days till my next infusion and doesn't even really this last one I don't even know if I really noticed it, to be honest. So I'm hoping, but I'm not going to hold my breath. So anyway, interesting. Yanda, is that how you say it? I think I got that right. Yanda.
Yonda.
You're Yonda. You're asking about pain because I was asking about pain the last time I was on too, about a month ago, and so I'll have some things to add to that conversation when it comes up. I don't have anything to add right now, except that I've been camping and I did it, and I was on my own practically. I mean, with my family's support, but yay! And I
That
only
is
fell once.
sounds like you had an
Anyway,
amazing time. Sounds like you had
yeah,
a
I'll
great
show you
time.
a picture later.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carmen, and welcome. And last
Thank
but not
you.
least, John, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, sorry I'm late. I was on the phone with my grandpa and grandma. It's the
Oh,
first time I've seen them both and talked to them both at the same time in a while. Um, I was diagnosed in 2016, relapsing remitting, and I'm currently on Zeposia. Um, and Kim, I would like a little bit of time to talk tonight.
okay.
Oh, I'm
Great.
from Michigan. That's right.
Yep, you're set. Okay, we're gonna swing it back to Yanda. So go ahead and let us know what you want to know or what your questions have. And
I'm just curious what medications people are taking for pain and for spasticity, or anything that's not pharmaceutical that they think is really helpful for them.
Raj?
I really
I'm on.
feel for anyone who's in pain. I myself have no pain and have no spasticity that I know of. I fall and I'm not balanced very well, but pain is not an issue for me. And like I said, I feel badly for anyone who does have that condition.
For spasticity, I'm on 10 milligrams of baclofen. It was just uh, being able to be steady standing up, and it works great for me. Twice a day. That's been fantastic.
I'm on tizanidine and I feel like it just barely takes the edge off.
So I've tried both baclofen and tizanidine. I kind of go back and forth with them. I use the tizanidine at night because I feel like I just, if I, well, if I take it too late at night, like 3 in the morning, because I forgot, I really have a hangover from it. So then I take baclofen during the day if I'm having a bad spastic day. But I don't even know what to say is a bad spastic day because my legs are constantly in spasm and tight, and walking is difficult. Like the controller muscles of my foot, like that make your foot go up and down, these ones on your leg, ugh, they're so tight. I can hardly even go down a curb without falling. It's ridiculous.
Did
So,
did you?
I
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was
yeah.
curious on the tizanidine because my doctor put me on it um, for insomnia and just to calm down this crazy rash I got all over the place. So it wasn't even MS related. And when I was looking up, sorry, that's my dog getting his broccoli. Um, when I saw it, when I was researching muscle relaxers, I was surprised it was a muscle relaxer. And Carmen, when you take it, do you get any effects with spasticity relief during the day, or is it worn off if you take it at the normal time at bedtime by the
I
morning? Because I just,
I feel like it kind of, I just feel like I'm dragging even more when I've taken it too
yeah,
late at
I don't want
night. Like
that.
I don't know that it really, I guess it is taking care of the spasms, but overall it impacts me. So I actually smoke cannabis, and that I find is the best. And the best cannabis is something that makes me feel stretchy. That's what I say to my husband. Oh, this is a good one. I'm
Mm.
really stretchy today. And it just takes the edge off, and I feel like moving everything that hurts when I've smoked. So I just actually had a conversation with my doctor about all of this, about pain, because I was asking for some Dilaudid because I got some Dilaudid during surgery, and I'm not anti-opiates. Like I take codeine, and that just barely kind of manages it. So I just wanted like a small dose to take once in a while, just so I could get some things done once in a while without hurting so much. And she just said, really, studies show that the more opiates you take, the more sensitive those nerve endings are. So it's not really beneficial.
Oh,
So she has suggested that I start on um, citalopram, 100 milligrams, long lasting, twice a
what's
day,
that
like every
called?
12 hours. Citalopram. So it's an anti-seizure medication, but I do use it sometimes to settle my nerves. Like if my ears are really going crazy because I've got a lot of tinnitus and just problems with my ears. So I do take that at night sometimes, and I feel like it has helped. But then again, I just fall asleep, which is good, but I'm not really sure how well it works. So I'm just getting that prescription because this was just this week actually. So
Hmm.
that's what I'm going to be trying next, and regular doses of baclofen. And then she also prescribed Sativex, which is spray cannabis,
Oh
but it's
yeah,
extremely
right.
expensive. So I'm just looking into all of that. So
Okay. I have
So,
just.
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that I take 4 milligrams of tizanidine 3 times a day. So I'm on the
Oh.
smallest dose of it.
Uh
Like
huh.
as far as individual pill, I just do it a couple times a day. And Do I know that it's working? Do I know when I'm not taking it?
Okay.
And as most of the people in this group know, I'm pro medical marijuana.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, don't be too judgmental.
Oh no, we grew. I mean, we live in Oregon, and it's one
Oh,
of the
yeah,
most
you're
or the
set.
most liberal place. We have a
Yeah,
dispensary like 2 blocks away, and we grew ourselves for about 25 years. Um, but now it doesn't do anything for me, and I've been using. I developed. I actually got to where I couldn't handle the high THC because I don't detoxify well and it would build up. And I also have epilepsy, and I was doing over 3 ounces a month to keep the seizures at bay and keep the pain going. So I'm doing RSO, the Rick Simpson oil, but
yeah.
I'm using a 7-to-1. And it's really not doing anything. The marijuana period doesn't do anything for me anymore. So the only pain reliever that helped me, and this is when I was in hospice too, that was methadone because morphine, I kept having to go up and up. And I'm on Cymbalta right now, and it's helping barely. It does help with my anxiety. Sorry about the background noise. Sorry, it's dinner time here. Um, my doctor suggested maybe I wanted to go to the Suboxone clinic, which is similar to methadone, I guess. I just don't want to go down that road because I don't want the side effects of it, and I don't want to not feel like myself. Because so far on this Cymbalta, I feel I'm not having any side effects at all. So I'm hoping to add a muscle relaxer. I have had Flexerol before; it hasn't helped. Baclofen doesn't help, and then it also started triggering seizures for me. I'm not too hopeful about tizanidine, but I was gonna try Roboxen. That's my last question, and I'll quit talking. Has anybody tried that?
I haven't, but have you been to a pain clinic?
Um, I did in Sacramento. The thing is, I've already done all the tricyclics. I've done gabapentin. It didn't work. On the, I ended up on 3,600 milligrams a day, and then I would take an extra 600 at night to get through the night, and then take 600 or less the next day. So I wasn't, because that's 4,200. That's not prescribed, so um, that's not working,
And what about
and
gabapentin?
that's what I'm just talking about.
Oh, okay.
And
Sorry.
then Lyrica, my doctor suggested that if the Cymbalta didn't work, but Lyrica is so similar to gabapentin, I'm not very optimistic about that. So I'm just trying to stay off of opiates because I think my life is going to change a lot if I do that. So I'm gonna maybe ask for the Roboxen, but I was interested to see if there was any drugs that I hadn't heard of yet. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that.
It's a tricky one, pain, you know? It's so
It
hard to
is.
define, and I sometimes think like, why am I so uncomfortable? Well, I think about where I hurt. Before I went to my doctor's appointment, I started making a mental list and went from head to toe, and it was a pretty significant list. So I thought, okay, you're allowed to be a little cranky about pain, Carmen. So doesn't mean I've solved the problem, but give myself permission to be cranky about it once in a while at least.
I wish the marijuana worked for me. I mean, it did for a long time, but now it's just like, I mean, I forget. I'll go like 4 days without even touching my syringe because it's not doing anything, and I just kind of forget to take it. So, yeah, I don't know. But
So
cool, nice to
I mean,
meet
I
all
also
you.
do massage therapy and
Hmm.
acupuncture. Those are both out of pocket expenses.
Right.
But I do find that I don't know, it helps.
Yeah, I was doing acupuncture quite a lot just about 3 months ago, and then just really isn't helping. I think the problem is having the CRPS RSD on top of this and the Ehlers-Danlos because I dislocate things, all the time, and so it's kind of a complicated picture, but especially the RSD. I was in a when I got diagnosed. Well, I'd already been diagnosed, but then it really came on. I was riding a mountain bike to school with my son, and on the way home, a full-size pickup truck hit me in the side, and then I didn't have a helmet on, so I had a head injury, and I was in a wheelchair within like a month, and then I was diagnosed progressive, and then when I went into remission after hospice, then the doctor's like, well, maybe you have relapsing remission. And now we have this new category, progressive relapsing MS, and that's really how what I fit is because I continue to have shorter remissions and not very good ones, and continue to progress, but I keep bouncing back instead of it's a weird.
I think
Uh,
MS is MS, and they like to categorize things, and
Good
they
point.
categorize things according, in order to run their clinical trials, but it's all MS. No matter what your presentation of it is, no matter how
Yeah,
you know, everybody's different, right? And this is the snowflake disease, but
yeah, that's true.
I pay very little attention to, you know, the categorization of MS.
I think that's smart. Yeah, thank you.
I agree, Andrea, except that there is like some people do have some remission times where they have no symptoms. I'm jealous of that. Like if I had to get this disease, I wish I had gotten relapsing remitting. That's the only reason that I do keep the sort of classifications in my mind, but I agree. Like MS is MS. And same with
Right.
medications. Like why don't you give us like primary progressive people a little bit more options? So
And now I'm 64, and I guess like when you hit a certain age, they don't give you anything anyway. So,
No, you need a new MS doctor if that's what they're telling you.
well, I
That
can't take them anyway. So I'm allergic to 15 different drugs so far, and I got really sick with my 2 COVID shots. Um, and my neurologist said, yeah, that you and a few of my other patients have had significant relapse. He said, don't get any more. And so yeah, I'm not a good candidate for drugs. Period. I'm just lucky I'm tolerating the Cymbalta and my thyroid drug. So, anyways, oh,
is
you guys have
Cymbalta the
been really
same as
generous. That's
gabapentin?
awesome.
I'm so sorry.
No, Cymbalta is used
duloxetine.
for
Mm,
duloxetine. It's used for
okay.
general anxiety disorder, but they've
Depression.
also found it helpful with chronic pain and
Mm,
fibromyalgia, and so it's kind of like the tricyclic thing. It's a
hmm.
I think it's also, is it, Andrea, do you know, is it an antidepressant as well?
It is. I was prescribed Cymbalta for depression, but it kept my pseudobulbar intact, it kept that in control. And then so when I went off of it, the PBA came back and I started feeling all the weird things all over my body. I have bugs in my hair, and I've
Mm,
got water pouring down my leg, and I've got numbness on the
Mm.
other leg, and so it the Cymbalta was holding all of that back when they only prescribed it to me. So as I went off of it, that stuff started to come back in.
I don't want to go off of it because I didn't realize. how um, anxious I was, or just, you know, nervous or whatever, and it's really mellowed me out, but not in a sedative way. And I just feel like, oh my gosh, this is really great. So I'm not actually looking to, go off of
Well,
it either,
and you
because
don't
I'm
want to come
loving
off it
it.
quickly. Yeah,
That's
you
what
need to
yeah, no.
taper. Yeah, you need to really taper off of it. So I'm still on it, but I'm on a much lower dose because I felt like I wasn't depressed, but I wasn't really happy either. Like it took
Mm.
my ranges and just like narrowed it. So,
It hasn't done anything for depression for me, although um, I think my depression is more situational, because I'm actually a pretty optimistic person and I don't really suffer from depression, but it's definitely helped the anxiety to where I'm not nervous when I'm with groups of people, or just like, you know, um, one-on-one's more comfortable with me. But yeah, so, but the pain thing, they only take you to 60 milligrams for pain, and I think for depression they take you higher. So I'm already at 60, and I've only been on it a month. So I've already reached the full capacity of what I can be prescribed for. But so I'm looking for other. I'm hoping a muscle relaxer will give me enough relief, because I'm tight. My spine is tight. My neck. I've got trigeminal nerve. I've got eye pain 24/7. They've had for 20 years in this one side, and it's just all. So I don't know. I'm talking too much. Let's segue onto someone else's question. This has been really helpful, though. Thank you.
of
I
course.
found it helpful. That's why we're here for. It's fun. It's nice to have a bunch of people that are dealing with, a similar health condition, and be able to bounce things off of others. What worked, what didn't work, how people's experience with them. It's very, very helpful. So, if anyone does have any other question or anything else they want to talk about this, we'll go on to the next topic.
If anyone goes on, it's me. So just know that you didn't go on at all.
Okay, we're gonna go to Marlo.
Has anybody had, as far as like tightness of spasticity, has anybody had long-term success with yoga?
I did yoga for 30 years, or have, and I would climb out of my wheelchair and do it. And now I'm doing several adaptive yoga classes that are done in a wheelchair, and I spend a lot of my day doing Zoom exercise classes for the pain and spasticity, and the movement helps me immensely, and especially yoga. Um, so yeah, well, I think I'd be a lot worse if I wasn't doing it, and I'm definitely building up some really good core strength, which is helpful. So I do recommend it, and there are adaptive. I don't know if you're in a wheelchair or not, but there are adaptive classes. Do you know about Yoga Moves MS?
No, I was just mainly for the tightness or the spasticity. I'm getting
Yeah,
that
it
recommended.
definitely helps me.
Marlo,
I
I
just
don't
started
officially do.
a
Go
yoga
ahead, Ruth.
class. Sorry. I just started a yoga class like a month ago, and it does a lot more than just the spasticity, because you have it's the breathing and the mind, uh, about the mind. So it encompasses a lot, but you can't say that it's gonna help you right away. You have to work on it, just like everything else.
Yeah, I was going to just say that, like, when I talk about being stretchy, I just find what hurts and I stretch it. So I don't officially do yoga, but I do some very unique poses. Like I'll get into some very creative stretching poses. I use my railing on my deck and I'm bending and like trying to keep my core and like all kinds of crazy things in order to get some of the muscles, like the ones at the back of your hamstring going up to your bum. Like those are so tight on me, but to find a stretch that works is just crazy. So, but the days that I have the nights that I've really stretched, I know that I'm so much better the next day. I'm walking so much better. So I try to do it almost every day.
Nice, thank you.
Another area to potentially look at too, which also helped me out a lot, not so much with spasticity, but just range of motion and energy levels, is Tai Chi or Qigong. There's tons of videos on YouTube, and I think John, did you say there were some? Was it on, you can't think, Amazon Prime or something?
Yes, on Amazon Prime, you just search for even adaptive, and it was so in the 3 months that I found that I was diabetic before I was diagnosed with MS, I was doing diabetic diabetic Tai Chi and chair bound. So it was like seated Tai Chi, and I found it to be really helpful. It's just on Amazon Prime. You're right, Kim.
'Cause I know when I did Tai Chi, John, it was very like, how does slow movements, like, how is that helpful? And then you're just like, wow, this is really is helpful. It's just kind of like, but because you think it's helpful, you think like big and fast and intense, and it's like, no, small movements do a bunch.
And if you want to make it harder, do Tai Chi in a pool. It
Oh.
doesn't make anything easier.
I've never done that before. That would be interesting. Lots of extra. Holy cow,
It
that would
makes
be a lot.
falling down easier.
Unless you can't swim or don't float. I got the floating thing down for all of us.
The one thing I also do is the the yoga video that I do is on YouTube. It's called Yoga with Bird, and it's very gentle. So she doesn't do adaptive, but her voice is just very calming, and her movements are very easy. So you're not. It's all stretching and not um aerobic.
Did you say bird?
So yes, I did.
Cool. I'm going to post the
Yoga
link in
with
the description.
bird.
Cool.
Yoga with bird?
Bird.
Bird.
BIRD. Bird.
Yoga with bird.
There's a link in the
Mhm.
description for everyone if they want to check that out.
All right, I gotta pull this up because I gotta check this out. Okay, great. Awesome. I'm gonna check that out later. Thank you, Marie. Thank you for posting that, John. Anyone else have anything they like to add about any type of exercises like yoga helping with spasticity or?
Kim, I'd like to ask if anyone here has heard of MS Gym. MS Gym.
Oh, MS Gym, like on
Yes.
Facebook?
No, .com. Yes, MS Gym is a step by is a bunch of videos, and the proprietor has been involved with MS patients for 10 or 15 years.
I've heard of it. I haven't used it at all. Have you used it, Mike? Any-
Isn't he like into neuroscience and brain plasticity?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Mike's just getting on the phone. I feel like I'm talking all the time today, but I have checked out quite a few of his exercises because I signed up for one of the, I don't know, balance sessions or something like that. And he sends like daily, almost daily, and they're called movement minutes. And he's got some really good ones on there, like, work on your balance or target the uh,
Is there a
muscle.
charge, Carmen? Is there a
Not for
fee?
that. No, no, not for that. And you can go on YouTube and look at like a lot of his stuff for free, but then you can sign up for the membership. But they've got a new thing too, which is like a mini membership. So it's targeted, like symptom targeted or something like that. So that's something new that just has come out. I saw in one of his emails, but I
Yeah,
just
it's
am not
only
home and
$15 a
dedicated
month.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just am not like dedicated enough, and I find my own. So
What did you think of the paid content, Carmen? Did you say you paid for some
I
of it at
didn't,
one
I
point?
didn't, no,
Okay.
no, I didn't sign up. No, I just
Okay.
did this free session, like, which is just to get you, sort of
Hmm.
connected and whatever. But
I did the paid content and I canceled it after 3 months because it wasn't live, and I'm doing probably, it's really obsessive, but I'm doing probably 3, 4, or 5 classes a day. Tai
Wow.
Chi, Pilates, yoga, dance, strengthening training, vestibular training, Zumba. I think that covers all of them. And everything's free. And the instructors are live on Zoom, and so you can ask questions and interact with them, which I find really helpful. And I feel much more motivated. Plus, you start, like in this meeting, you start learning, you start getting to know people, and it becomes a community. And um, so that's what I'm doing. Plus it's free. And the videos with Trevor, I think he's great, but I hurt myself on the symptom one because, um, there's no, like, I don't know, be careful. If I mean, all the other instructors will kind of say, okay, if you have this going on or whatever, and don't overdo it, and then you can stop and ask them, this is going on, what's the solution for modifying this or whatever. So I felt I really needed that because I hurt myself on my own. So
So I have found that actually going to see a neurophysical therapist is one of the best things that I've done. I tried for years to do a lot of on my own stuff, and I just wasn't able to get where I wanted to go. And I spent like maybe 2 months going to see this neurophysical therapist, and she did all these tests and found exactly where my weak muscles are, and she found vestibular issues that I didn't even know existed. And she gave me very targeted exercises that I needed, that were specific to me. And 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 I was blown away by my improvement after working with her.
How long have you been working with her?
I graduated about a month ago.
Okay. And how
So
long
it
did
was
you work with her for?
about 2 months. That was kind of my winter thing this year was working with physical therapy.
I think I'm just wondering how hard it is to find an actual neuro physical therapist. I'm learning
It
more
took
about, like, there's a pelvic floor physical therapist, there's a neurophysical therapist. It's
And I called around down here, and Oh yeah, I work with neurology patients. Absolutely. Come on in. And he didn't even know what Uthoff's phenomenon was. And I mean, and I just wasted money on him. It was and horrible. And I called somebody else and they were like, "No, you need to call this other woman." And I'm so thankful to them for sending me to the right person. And out here, I mean, I'm in a very rural area and not a lot of health care, and I'm just thrilled to death I was able to find a neurophysical therapist, and I highly recommend them.
Are you still doing the exercises they told you to do?
Yep. Yep, she sent me home with bands and said if you need stronger bands or if yours break, you can always call me with questions, that type of thing. So I graduated, but she's like, I can call her at any time. So now, right. So now most of the exercises I do are the ones that she sent me. She sent me home with tons of them.
I'm so glad that you were able to find her. Sounds like she was really helpful for you.
Yes. Yes. And I've even got 2 or 3 people locally that I've recommended to her. So her business is booming.
Does she have like a network that'd be look, I know a guy in Michigan. Do you have any peeps in Michigan that he can go to?
Or
Have you
Canada.
tried calling the National MS Society and asking them, Kim?
No, I didn't even know they existed until you talked about them. I mean, I should know
Oh,
that they exist, but I didn't even know that was the field. Like that's why I love coming to these meetings because I learn things every time. It's great.
I sent her a link, and it was a link to not what we were talking about. So I apologize for distracting Kim.
oh, that's okay. Good. She has a good excuse. Did we answer? I feel like we went off
Marla
topic.
says we're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
thank
If
you.
Marla says we're good, we're good.
Marla says we're good. We're good. Is there anything you're gonna think you're gonna try or branch out and try, Marlo?
The neurophysical therapist, I think that sounds pretty cool.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like positive review. That's
Yes.
that's the best review I ever heard.
I'm gonna remember it now. I'm like, there's a
Of
new thing, neurophysical therapy. Because no one's ever said that to me before. So I'm just like, ooh, I'm
of
all ears.
every single medical professional that I have ever seen, I feel like I get the most out of my dentist and my neurophysical therapist.
I don't know what I thought these PTs were, but since they said they specialize in neurological things, thank you for putting those two things together. I'm lucky that the place that I go to, which I think is why Kim said, "Can we just go to Michigan?" Um, like everyone on their staff is one. So I worked with like 4 people. Like, holy cow. Yes. Find one, do one if you can.
Yes. If you have MS, you should have a neurophysical therapist in your back pocket.
And I just research to figure out who we have nearby that fits into
Yep.
that category. Okay, we're
Yep.
gonna switch gears here and go to Jen.
Um, First major thing, I thought that Carmen's last name was in Canada. Just all one word. In Canada. Now she's got a fancy last name and everything, you know?
Carmen from Canada, John. From
I know.
Canada.
And and Andrea.
Yeah.
I did not know that the pseudobulbar effect could be connected to MS.
Oh, totally.
Thank you. Now I have some new thing to bring up to my doctor because
What is that?
what? My doctor?
No, no. What is
Oh,
the pseudo
it,
what?
the people that have trouble laughing, or like they
Laughing or
sob, or
crying.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do
Hmm.
you laugh
Just
or cry?
oh, I cry.
I cry. I sob. It's
Yes,
not
like
even crying, it's sobbing.
yeah, I thought I was like a sap for like you
Mm-mm.
know commercials on TV that I was seeing. Like no,
Nope.
that's normal or
Mhm.
that's not normal.
Mhm.
So
When
that's something
Papa
I
Don't Preach by Madonna makes you cry, I'm sorry. There's just something neurological going on.
yeah yes. Well, she was in trouble deep, okay. And
Oh, John.
the big thing I wanted time for was I didn't know how much a bladder infection took you off your feet so that
Oh,
you didn't even
totally.
know that you had something, that you were just losing your damn mind and body.
5 days in the hospital from that. Yep.
Oh, I got out a little bit earlier than that, but that's just me because I hate
Mhm.
to stay in hospitals. So, Melissa, my wife, in case you didn't know who Melissa was, um, she had friends over last Friday and Saturday from out of state. On Thursday, my dad came over, so not being able to get out of bed on Saturday or Sunday morning, I just on Saturday and Sunday morning, I just attributed to having a bad MS week, just from all the stress.
Mm.
Sunday went into the hospital, couldn't get out of bed, so the ambulance took me. Um, we do all the blood work, we do all the thing, and yeah, they didn't quite say massive, but they said big,
Yep.
you know. So I was admitted. The beds are not comfortable, as we all know. We know it's either too hot, too cold, all those things. For me, nothing felt right. Um, I was a sad person, not like that, but I was just like Andrea. I couldn't stop crying all damn weekend.
Mm.
Um, but I'd like to think of myself as
Cymbalta.
like, what's that?
Cymbalta.
Yeah.
Low dose. You don't need a lot, but yeah.
So that happened. Um,
That sucks, John.
my first time ever overnight in the hospital. Yay! I lost my cherry at age 44.
Hey, you did pretty good.
I did pretty good. And things that I discovered in the hospital, um, they have this little like cup that they can put around a penis, and you just pee in it, and it suctions it up into another like area. I had no idea that was a thing.
They
Damn, now
have
I
them for
want a
women
penis.
too.
That's where they used a couple times. So this morning, or no, in the middle of the night last night, I wake up. Oh, I gotta pee. Oh, the system has it. I wasn't in the hospital last night.
Oh.
So I had an accident in bed. I'm laughing now because I realized, like, oh no, I thought it would be there, but not this time. Um, so we know the food's bad, the beds are
Yep.
uncomfortable, we know all those things, but it's weird to see, like, I saw so many different specialists and ists and tests and all sorts of stuff. Like, I think they took more blood than urine, and I was in there for two whole days. Just felt like everything needed a blood test. Well, you just took that lipid pad. I just took a lipid panel this morning. Well, yeah, but we have you on this now. Okay. I've never taken insulin in my life, but they didn't want to take me off of metformin.
Mm.
Or they wanted me to not have metformin so they could use the insulin. Um, the first night I miss Melissa. I miss my doggies. Um, creature comforts. This chair, my office. And was I looking for the fastest way out? Yes. So check out what was preventing me from being able to leave yesterday. An MRI. I got this under fucking control. I'm an old soul at these MRIs. Just get, I know I'm so thanks, Marlo. I get that way when I'm sad. It's more like just seasoning. Um, now, Marla, you made me forget what I was saying. I was so
MRI.
MRI.
All right.
thank you, friends. So, an MRI, just a measly MRI, which I've done tons of. I even was on Ativan. No problem, right? Yeah, big problem. Panic attack, 15 minutes in.
Oh, no.
It was, they say it's the biggest kind, but I've been in bigger, I believe.
Of MRIs or panic
Yeah.
attacks?
Oh, both, but MRIs is what I'm talking about. Sorry about that, everyone. Cool. So biggest MRI they said they had, and I said, well, I've been in bigger, and it's uh, an MRI place that has an open MRI,
Oh,
which is why when they said the MRI of my brain and entire spine will take an hour and 15 minutes, I was like, no, that's like a 2 to 3 hour procedure, right? And they're like, no, that's not a thing. But apparently the open ones take longer to do.
mm.
So will I do 2 hours on Ativan to have the comfort of being able to like wiggle my fingers and stuff? Yes. Like I was in like this, and I can't handle that. So they said you're gonna do your MRI in outpatient. You're gonna do in the next couple weeks, and we'll get back to it. Because once we found out the bladder infection, the MRI became less vital.
Yep.
Like we can't treat a lesion, but we can treat a bladder infection or any kind of infection. So they said, hey, before you leave, we need you to sit and stand on your own. Like, okay. So I did that like 2 or 3 times. Um, I've done 10 today, so I'm doing better. And then the PT had to run me through all the things that we see at our neurologist's office: squeeze the fingers, hold them stiff, push away the knee, the leg. And he's like, yeah, dude, PT has no reason for you to stay here. Now, get out to the parking lot, and Melissa and my nurse are helping me get in. And here comes an F bomb. Everyone get ready. Cover your ears. This F bomb nurse did not know how to transfer a effing MS patient. I almost fell, friends. My butt was on the side of the footwell in my car. And then she tried to yank me this way. She was basically saying, hey, if you just pivot all the way around and sit, you'll be in the car. Well, pivoting on a curve with not knowing where you're going ain't mine, you know? Um, it wasn't until when I'm in the car and the windows are shut and I'm swearing, I was saying S bombs, F bombs, all the bombs, that I realized it wasn't my fault. It was her fault. And so I let this just not like I want to let them know, but just like, hey, not everyone can do the transfer. Would you identify other transfers for people? I mean, for your nursing staff, tell them other kinds of transfers, like someone without much leg use into a car from a curb. But I got home, had some not hospital food, but man, those infections can take the stuff right out of you.
And that's why they tell you, John, that a lot of times you've heard of a pseudo exacerbation, right? Or
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
so a lot of times UTIs will cause pseudo exacerbations. So
That
that's
makes
not
sense.
uncommon. So like anytime that you start to feel your symptoms really getting worse, like that's the first thing to do is take a, pee in a cup.
That's exactly what happened after my surgery. I was just
Yep.
completely laid flat because your body is dealing with so much other trauma that it just can't, there's no, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? There's just no
Resilience.
extra. Yeah,
Yeah,
Reserve.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
reserve.
man.
the
That
Thank you.
UTIs, because I had one about a year and a half or 2 years ago, and it just freaked me out. And I have a nurse with the MS. She goes, Karen, you're not going to have a UTI for the rest of your life. And I said, well, I was reading in the UK that people with MS should have a standing order for UTI, treatment for UTI, because
Yep.
the sooner you get it, the better off it is. We're prone to it. So I'm like crying. You're not the only one, John. I'm like, oh, it's the only guy. And then,
yeah,
then you have to wait till you bring it. You're like, "Ugh." And so she said, you're not going to have it forever. And it also took longer. I mean, my own doctor, because I did take an antibiotic, and after 10 days, it was better, but not quite. And when that passes, it's just, or I had, this dislocated finger 2 weeks ago, and it's just, I couldn't walk because it's like this finger's doing this. I can't walk. And as soon as she popped it back in, I asked the orthopedist, does that even make sense? Because as soon as it got popped back in, I just felt like the whole flow of energy.
yeah,
Yeah, so
and
spend the night in the hospital and you have diabetes
yeah.
and infections and yeah.
So Karen, you know how you're always writing something down? I wrote down UTI standing order. So thank
Oh,
you for that. Thank you for that.
I don't know if
It,
they'll,
it's brilliant. It's it's
and
a
also,
brilliant idea to me.
but not only that, you should have the cups, because I go to gyno-urology and I mean, I don't go in anymore, but I've talked on the phone. And when I think I was going in for a treatment. And so she said, well, here, why don't you, we'll submit it. And they just did it for me because, like, I once went to the lab and they're like, I can't pee on demand. And they're like, well, you have to leave the cup here. You have to leave the cup here. You can't walk down the street. Like, I'm going to get
Ugh.
somebody else's pee and put it in a cup. So, then that just raises my anxiety level even more. Well, now I can't pee. And so she sent me home with a bunch of cups because I would, there's no way I'm taking an antibiotic without having a urine specimen. That's stupid. That's just
Yeah.
stupid. So because there was so much convoluted stuff about who was actually going to order it, I do have a dose of UTI antibiotic in my house and I have the cups. And then she said, don't worry about the lab. Just bring the cups to us if you have, if you need to do that. But because by the time you give a sample and someone orders it, you're now 24, 48 hours into this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I get you. Loud and clear and written down. That's a really good suggestion. Thank you, friends, for that. I appreciate you, Karen. Thank you. And that's pretty much it. Woke up this morning after a dozen hours sleep and got out of bed with Melissa's help. So just like normal, and got up and on and off the toilet by myself. So things are on their way back to normal. And
Good.
what this gives me is confidence to say that I didn't lose anything
Nope.
because of a relapse. I
Right.
temporarily lost something because my bladder's so awesome that everything wants to live there.
Yep.
That's a great
So
way of putting it.
it's its own biome. All right. Thanks, everyone. I appreciate you.
John, I just have to say that would have been so scary, the transfer, like out in the parking lot. I can't even imagine. I feel for you. Like to be in the hands of someone that doesn't know what they're doing and to be like partially into the car. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so
And you're
sorry that you
not
had
like
to
a
go through that.
98, yeah, and you're not like a
Yeah.
98-pound weakling.
Hmm.
The worst part, the very, very worst part is that the little skinny nurse tried to pull me in, like from the passenger seat, from the driver's seat. And I'm like, no, that's a bad idea. And the way that she did it ended up hurting Melissa.
Ouch.
So she's sore as shit today because this nurse didn't do anything or did something, you know what I mean? She was wrong. Now, this is how I normally get into the car. My wheelchair comes up parallel to it. We open the door, we put the window down. Melissa helps me up through the window. I'm up and I start shuffling, and sometimes, well, lately, most of the time, Melissa's had to help my right foot move backwards, and then I'm on the chair, and then we get me in. Oh, Kim, I have an evaluation. They have called 3 times today about a follow-up appointment. So, yeah, I'm sure they'll call tomorrow, and then I'm going to say it to them because I missed the phone call today.
But you should also file a grievance. I used to
Yeah.
investigate grievances. I was a good person, but I used to investigate them, quality of care grievances. And then I had to
Okay.
write the letter, Dear Mr. John, this happened, that happened, that happened. It must have been very upsetting because I couldn't really tell you what we did, but it was kind
Yeah.
of funny because I thought I should start a business called the Angry Letter because I'm really good at the angry letter. And then it was just kind of cool to have the job where I could answer it. And I can't really tell you, and as a nurse, we're trained to just write observations. You don't like talk about your feelings. And the head of member service, she said, Karen, your letters, they're not warm and fuzzy. And I said, well, I mean, I'm a nurse. We don't write warm and fuzzy. We document. She goes, no, no. When you're answering these grievances, you need to be a little warm and fuzzy. And so I had to, I'm a good writer, so I could do that. But then sometimes maybe a patient annoyed me and I don't feel warm and fuzzy. So I'd send it to the head of member services. She goes, you want me to fluff it up a little? I went, yes, please. But a grievance, because I have something going on too that I think I will file a grievance when I ever get off the conveyor belt of healthcare. Go here, go
I
there, go there, go there.
I'm not going to ask them for half off the bill. I mean, I don't think hospitals do that.
No, they don't do it for misbehaving because that would almost be like admitting that they made a mistake. But to
Yeah.
file a formal grievance, because, and you don't ever really, I mean, I know that you don't really know what happened, but like, I got kicked out of the recovery room. I got kicked out of the recovery room when they decided instead of MS that I have thyroid cancer, which I didn't have, and I'd never had anesthesia in my life, and I will never have it again. And so I'm in the recovery room and they told me they're going to take my whole thyroid out and I'd have to spend the night. But if in case the sample says it's not cancer, I can leave. So, and this nurse is standing over me going, you need to get up and leave. I mean, it wasn't even like, Karen, you're here. You need to get up and leave. And I'm like, am I dreaming? I mean, I haven't voided. I haven't, you know, I haven't even opened my mouth. Oh, well, this is crazy. And so she said, you need to get up and leave. You have discharge orders. So I said, what happened? What happened with the surgery? She goes, they did what they said they were going to do. And you need to get up and leave. And I'm thinking, this can't be right. So the
Nurse
surgeon,
Ratchet.
so then the two surgeons come over to me, the main one and then the assistant, and then they come over and he's like, Karen, remember I told you I could be wrong? Like he thought I had cancer just by looking at it. Instead of making me go through yet more, let's just get in the OR because I don't like what I see. And he showed me. So he goes, remember I told you I could be wrong? Well, I'm wrong. It's not cancer. I mean, it is technically, but. And so I was just in there, and there they are with their little shower caps, and I'm like, I just touched her arm. I'm like, are you real? Okay. And I said, I don't want that nurse anywhere near me. She needs to get out. I don't want to have her anywhere near me. So then they gave me another nurse who was a Korean from Hawaii, and he's really nice. Well, then it turned out my blood pressure was high. They can't let me go home yet. And then the head ratchet nurse was just furious. And it's like, it's my fault that my blood pressure's too high and they have to get. So then that nurse said, I got to go to lunch now. I'll see you. Can I have some water? Can I have some ice? I mean, it was just, and I know how to write it. I'm not good at, I can just blabber, but it was just absolutely horrific. Well, then a couple of years later, guess what's in my chart? And I'm like, no wonder the people treat me like a fucking nutcase. I mean, I'm already a frequent flyer, and so are you, John. I mean, we can't help it, and that is the lingo, oh, frequent flyer. But when I see someone new, they're like, I, there seems to be an awful lot going on with you, like,
Yeah.
and here's what is in there: emergent delirium. You got anxiety. You got seborrheic keratosis, whatever the fuck that is. I'm thinking it's dandruff, but it's a skin tag. Oh, I'm 72-year-old with a little skin tag. Why? I said, why is that in my problem list? Because I saw it. Okay, but is it a problem? Am I being treated for this? And then somewhere down on the bottom, non-relapsing progressive MS. Non-relapsing. Well, if it's non-relapsing, it's just, does anybody even know what MS is? So they are so messed up. I had my doctor take off some, and I'm going to make her take off some more. That it's just ridiculous. Why does it say I have arthritis? I don't have arthritis. Well, somebody saw it in an X-ray 15 years ago. Okay, did I ever complain about arthritis? Why is that in there? But then this emergent delirium. What the hell is that? But any doctor that sees you with emergent delirium, like, let's not take her seriously. And it's like when you come out of anesthesia and you're kind of delirious, and it's like, I wasn't delirious, I was coherent. This is outrageous, and I just went, are you guys real, after that experience? So that's still in my chart, and so I do get treated like, what's the matter with
Aaron,
her?
I'm gonna cut you off right now because Jen still wanted to talk tonight, and I know we haven't seen her in a while, and I wanted to get some updates.
Yeah, and I apologize for being late. My neighbor came to help me, and I'm like,
Welcome. I'm
that's a
glad you're
different
still here,
support group.
Karen. Glad you're here tonight. Glad you're able to make it. Okay, Jen.
Okay.
I know it's getting late in your time, your East Coast time, so I want to make sure we got to you before it got too late.
Well, I went to get my cone biopsy about 5 weeks ago, and it came back with the anticarcinoma in situ. And then so we decided to do a hysterectomy, which that was Thursday. Yeah, that was fun. They did find the two cervical cells. They were the SIN3. So right before, I think, if I'm right on the stages, but they took everything out. She said that if she sees anything, she's just going to take it all out. She left me with one ovary. So I still have one ovary. She's by herself in there. Um, so for a minute, I forgot I had MS until I dealt with the MS hug today. I haven't had that for a minute, so it's probably being tired, and
Yep.
then my ass went back to work today, so I don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
You
It's
are
a lot.
here for going back this early. I mean, this feels like early
Yeah.
It's
going
a
back
big,
after surgery. That's a big thing, I think, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a fast turnaround.
Well, I work for the health department. They don't give a shit. So anyways,
Wow, Jen, did that wipe you out? I mean, total hysterectomy. That's a big procedure.
yeah.
You are a warrior, girl.
uh, but um, I just gotta know. The only thing really like is bugging really is not just the MS hug, but like the gas. I finally got to see what the procedure looked like, and they used the robotic. So I looked like I was in a murder mystery with like 5 stab wounds. That was pretty intense. But look, I'm thinking about the positive, okay? So,
Was it
yeah.
nice? Was it nice being fizzy for a couple days? Like after they pumped the air in you, were you like effervescent?
Ugh, no, it's horrible.
Okay.
It's
Melissa had bariatric surgery, and she's like, it's the worst feeling ever.
it's I feel like I'm about to give birth.
Did
That's
they give you prednisone?
no.
No, because your face is like poofy too. It's like, well, that's just on this camera, but I was
Yeah.
wondering.
The moon face, yeah. I haven't had that for a while, but they gave me I've just taken ibuprofen and Tylenol. So, and
Good
my
luck with the
daughter's due
rest
in
of
like
that
4
gas.
weeks.
Your daughter is due in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So you're almost going to be a grandma.
Mhm.
Oh,
I know, like, young, but it's okay.
Do you go by Grandma? What's your name gonna be?
I want to go by Marmy
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a good one. Everyone does
from
the
Little
Yeah.
Nona or
Women,
the Mimo. Yeah.
and her name's gonna be Winona.
Ooh,
See it?
nice.
See the click, the connection?
What was the second name, Jen? I missed it.
Oh, it's Winona Eleanor.
Okay. And you said you wanted to go by
Marmy.
Marmy, or there was something else, a second alternative? No? Okay. Sorry.
No
I thought I
problem.
missed something. I thought I was like, oh my God, I spaced. Okay.
You're
So
good.
let me ask you though about the the Tylenol with the Motrin, because when I had this injury, like when I had that surgery, but I don't think a lot of people know. Do you do like like after 3 hours you take Motrin, 3 hours
Mhm.
later you take Tylenol, 3 hours later you take Motrin. So like every 3 hours you have something coming in, but you're only taking the aspirin and the Motrin every six.
No,
Does
it's
that make
yeah, it's
sense?
farther apart. It's farther apart.
But you alternate?
Yeah.
Because I
They
didn't
did
know
send
that.
me they did send me home with 5 milligrams of oxycodone, but I did take a few that first day.
Oh yeah.
Um, but I don't want to do that.
But so that's why if you alternate those three, you take Tylenol, 3 hours later take Motrin, 3 hours, you're not overdoing it on anyone, and it kind of covers, because I was feeling it recently, like, after, you know, if I forgot to take it, it's like,
Hmm.
it just
Because
kind of
it
takes
wears
that.
off an hour before you can take the next one. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm good.
We're glad you are. Very glad you're feeling better.
What are you doing so you can make a full recovery so you're 100% in grandma mode in next month?
I'm just trying to find more time, I think. Just
Will you have some time off, like when she's due?
no.
No.
Nope, it's without pay. I'm contract employee, so I
Mm.
can't like everybody else. They're a lot of medical staff, so they have like extra hours they could add to their bank, but I just do the fetal and infant mortality, so I don't have that. So I love when they gripe about it, though. It makes me
Right.
happy.
I bet it does.
It does. I'm just like, well, well, crap.
Is your
Yeah.
treatment considered done then, or do you have more treatment after this,
I
or?
go back to follow up for like August. No, wait, July, August 10th. I go for a follow up, and hopefully, because that's in Indy, and that's about 2 hour drive. And I'm telling you what, my mom and dad took me every time, but just the drive, like the riding, I was exhausted. And my daughter lives in Indy too, and when I go see her, I'm like spent. So my spoons are depleted. They are.
Oh,
There's no adding, and I use that theory all the time. And my spoons are just. I'm borrowing for the next year.
But you look
Same.
fine. You look great. I don't see a problem.
The nurse lady who almost let me fall, she didn't know what spoon theory was either. So now we know that she's just not a good person, Jennifer, right?
that's right.
How far away is the commute from Richmond to Indy?
About 2 hours.
That's where your daughter is with the new baby
She's
coming?
she's an hour and a half. Hour and a half. Hour and 20 minutes because I don't do the interstate, so it takes me a little while.
So a lot of weekend drives coming up for you.
Yeah. So I'll figure it out. I'm a problem solver. If I have any kind of skill, it's problem solving.
Can I share something with you guys? Something that might make you smile?
Yes.
Please.
Okay.
Go ahead. Try to
So
make
I
us
told you
laugh.
yeah. I told you I went camping. My family has gone to the same campground for, I think this was our 6th year. And we kind of arrived like a band of gypsies in a way, because there's like 4 trailers and we set up our whole thing circular. And we've got like matching shirts because my parents gave us all red and black flannels. And we do funny things. And we actually have this thing, it's a daily vote for head camper. And so there's a head camper senior and junior. And so every day, we gather around the fire and we write down who we vote for, and then overall there's like the year's best like head camper. Anyway, it's just goofy, but this is my crew. This was last week, so we've got
Oh,
our flannels on, and it was just, the weather was gorgeous. We're right by a huge lake, and my niece and 3 nephews were there. And the littlest one, Jake, is the one that saved me when I went off of work because he was born the same week. And my sister's also expecting August 11th. They'll be number 3 arriving.
wow.
So that's my crew. We had such a
That's
great time.
awesome.
Yep. Oh, here.
That's really
My
beautiful.
my parents and I hanging in our plaids.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was good. So there, to put a smile on people's faces and put a good thought in your mind. Of course, I'm exhausted and I still haven't like caught up and talk about spoons. Yeah, I'm
How long?
way in
How
debt.
long have you been back?
We came back Wednesday, and then my trailer came back Friday. And so then I had to like unpack and do a bunch of stuff. Like it's just been trying to catch up and do laundry and like all the stuff that you have to do post camping. So it's just been a lot.
I have a quick amazing thing to share. Louis is here. I see him right there. Hi, Louis.
Hi, Louie.
Hi. Yeah, they're too nice.
How are you
I had
doing,
my,
Louie?
I'm good. I had my infusion today, so it went smooth. Um, Easiest one so far.
Good.
You do the fast infusion?
Yeah. This one was slower. Seemed like a new, the last 2 or 3 ones have been the same nurse. This one was a new nurse, and I guess maybe she was kind of scared, so I think she did it slow. But it was really easy, so the previous person, um, he always pushed it, and I remember feeling, the body aches and stuff. This one, I had the Tylenol, um, right away, as I have before, but I didn't feel anything, just the real drowsy, but that was it. So, yeah, maybe I'm just getting used to it too. Uh,
Either way, it's
What
cool getting used
medicine?
to it.
Which medicine do you take, Louie?
Ocrevus, yeah,
Ocrevus.
yeah, yeah.
So I was curious. Carmen said at the beginning of the meeting that she's not feeling better after her Ocrevus infusions. And so I just had my first one yesterday. And other than feeling really tired from the Benadryl and waking up super early today from the steroids, like I really don't feel any different. Yesterday, my legs were heavier than normal. Today, they just feel normal. Um, so I guess, Carmen, what I'm asking is like, I didn't think that these infusions were intended to make you feel better. They're intended not to make you feel worse.
I guess I just always had such a positive reaction to maybe the steroids, I just
Mhm.
felt so much better, and then that puts me in a mental place, and I was still working. And
Right.
I did a lot of driving for my work, like I traveled and I could manage it all, but I can't even like begin to imagine that now. So that's why I say I don't really feel that same improvement, but I also see that my symptoms are getting worse. So it's not just about how I feel, it's about what I'm feeling overall in that time period too. So I might not have said that correctly, Andrea,
How long have you
but
been
I
taking it?
2017. So this is my 6th year. Because I was in a
Okay.
study, like before it was even available for primary progressive, even in the States,
Gotcha.
I was in a study, or I received it right away. So, but now they're doing a study that is weight based, which I think makes sense. And
Doing
like if
studies at what?
they're doing a study that for a weight-based dose rather than just a standard dose, because it's 150 milligrams, like for anyone. And like I'm almost 6 feet tall, and I'm a solid person. I'm not a small person, so it makes sense to me that it should be weight-based, but I don't know.
But are they still monitoring you? Like I didn't go on Ocrevus because they, say, oh, well, at your age, there's, we don't have anything for you. But if they don't do studies on older people, you don't really know anyway. And anyway, it's
Hmm.
just really supposed to slow down the progression. So you don't really know, Carmen, would it be faster? I'm on the same path as you in terms of it's very fast and it's noticeable, every 2 weeks or every month. It's like it's noticeable. And the prednisone, when I had that surgery for the thyroid cancer I didn't have, I came back, I was like, wow, I can walk better. I can, the prednisone makes you feel better because I'm confused when I hear people saying, oh, I hit the crap gap and I felt, really good on my Ocrevus. And I'm like, but from what I read, it's not supposed to make you feel better or worse other than the side effects of whatever the Benadryl and stuff like that. So, I don't try to question or argue with anyone who says, I felt really good afterwards, but I have that same like, really? But why?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain it either.
Because you're not the only one I've heard say that either. I have a friend who's been on Ocrevus, I don't know, for maybe a year, maybe a year and a half, not long, really. But so he was like, "Oh, as soon as I got the Ocrevus, my balance was immediately better. You're gonna be able to walk straight as soon as you walk out."
Prednisone. It's prednisone.
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
So much so that when I met the neurologist, yeah, when I was told I don't have MS, and then I find out I do have MS, and I was still walking with a cane, and she said, yeah, I said, well, if the prednisone makes me feel good, can I use that? And she said, you don't want to do that. It really destroys your body. And then I've never taken advantage of it, but I said, well, what if I was going to go on a trip somewhere? Could I take it like once a year or two just to feel better? And she agreed to that. So it does make you feel better, but it doesn't. And it'll mess you up if you take
Yeah,
prednisone more than twice a year.
Karen, I have done like a pulse treatment, which is 3 days of IV and IV prednisone. And that is like I have done that in the middle of my doses. So at about 3 to 4 months in the beginning when I first started to kind of feel that the effect was wearing off. So yeah, I did really feel like the effect was wearing off. I just felt back to like that heavy fatigued feeling. And so I would do a prednisone pulse, and oh my
What
God,
is it called? A pulse?
amazing. A pulse treatment, I think that's what they called it. So, but it was IV. So I had to go to the hospital 3 days in a row and get the infusion. But oh my God, I felt like $1,000,000. And that keeps you going for a while. I mean, you don't sleep for a little while, but who cares? You just feel so good. You're just like, okay, all
I
right,
know you
this is
got that
great.
perky prednisone.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
feeling good till you're not.
But then I worry about doing it too often because of the effects. So it's not something that I do regularly, but if I was going on a trip, I'd definitely be asking for that.
That's how I keep my house clean.
Prednisone?
Twice
Yeah.
a year, prednisone.
What do you do, Andrea?
I was totally making a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh, really?
Well, we meet again in 2 weeks, which is August 8th. It's kind of wild that we're going to be a week into August. I just can't. 2 weeks and not whatever. I am not 100%, guys. I had a cold last week. I thought I was doing better, but this meeting, I'm sorry. I think I was still recovering from it. I apologize. Anything else that anyone else wants to talk about or comment before I shut
Oh
off the
yeah,
recording for
like,
the evening?
well, I was hoping that we might see a picture of Miss Kim going to the Barbie movie.
I didn't end up
In
going because I
Oh,
had
you
a
didn't
cough.
go?
No, because I still had my residual cough. So I couldn't
Oh
go. I
man,
was really bummed out. So
you had a
maybe next.
costume though. You had all your costume set.
Yeah, so I have a moo and I was going as retired Hawaiian Barbie.
That's awesome. Can you still
That's
go?
great.
I'm sorry.
Can you go this weekend?
We'll see what my friend wants to do. So if she wants to go, she's gonna be out of town this weekend. I won't see her till next week. So if she wants to go to
Oh,
the Barbie movie again, yeah, but she's the one that wanted to dress up. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll be retired Hawaiian Barbie because I got a moo.
well, yeah. I was wondering how you got your husband to go. Now,
Oh
did
no,
you?
he will not go to
Oh
that.
no. Now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did you give everybody a report and I missed it on your Scottish holiday?
No, but I'm quite disappointed in you, Rick, because you did not tell me about brown sauce. That stuff is amazing.
HP sauce.
Yes, HP sauce is the bomb, and I didn't have checked-in luggage, so I couldn't get a small enough bottle to sneak back with me on carry-on. So now I have to like try to get it through
Oh
World
my
Market and
goodness.
pay like
We'll have to
massive
take.
shipping for it.
Oh,
Wait,
we'll
wait,
have to.
wait. We have HP sauce in Canada, so I can send you some. You don't have to worry
Carmen,
about
send
shipping
it
it.
to me, girl. I need some HP sauce in
It's
my
always
life.
in my fridge, dude.
But you know what? I have to say, it doesn't always taste the same. It's like close, but sometimes you can tell the difference sometimes, right, Carmen? Between the English and the you
I
can't you?
I haven't tried the others, so I don't know. But like,
Oh,
there's
now
bold, there's like all kinds of different
HP
ones
sauce.
here.
I'll tell you where else you can get it. You can get it. I'm pretty certain you can get it at World Market Cost Plus.
Yeah, I have to. They don't have it here. I have World Market here, but they don't have it in stock. They don't carry it, so I have
Oh,
to order
okay.
online. So I have to pay shipping because you can get it
Oh,
on
yeah, yeah,
Amazon,
yeah.
but there's iffies about it breaking and it being expired.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah,
Who
that was
knew?
one thing I didn't get HP sauce. Yeah, I tried haggis. I liked it. I really like the
Yeah,
food. I love the tea with milk. I'm like really
yeah,
into that. It's really good. And
yeah.
what else did I have? Sausage and you call it sausage and roll. I had
Sausage
had
rolls.
sausage
Sausage
roll.
rolls.
Yeah, I had to have that. And it's like, do you want HP? Do you want brown sauce? I'm like, what is that? What you? Yes,
Scotch
yes, brown
eggs.
sauce.
Do you have any Scotch eggs?
No, and I didn't have any of the what do they call it?
Did you understand people
Black
talking
pudding.
to you?
Yeah, well, the guy that we were with. Let me stop the recording because we're just talking
I
about
mean,
my trip
did
here.
yeah?